At Agroxine Le Saffre Plant Care, we are experts in the yeast fermentation process. Fermentation is the process of precisely creating and controlling an environment, providing necessary propagation materials such as sugar and oxygen, and giving birth to many yeast cells. We create very specialized yeast strains that become Giulietta. Everything starts with the Le Saffre Group's strain collection, the isolation of Saccharomyces cerevisiae LESO2 and storage at -80 degrees Celsius. Liquid culture is done in a test tube. A few milligrams of yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae LESO2, which will compose Giulietta, are transferred in a culture environment and then placed in an incubator at a favorable temperature. For fermentation, you need to be patient. Next, we transfer the yeast cells to a bigger environment. The aim of this process is to increase the biomass in successive steps. This is done so the number of cells can reach a sufficient volume for a large amount of yeast. With this, we can inoculate a fermenter to obtain the first-generation yeast. In this step, many tons of yeast are generated every day. The yeast is then separated from the culture medium, which allowed the cells to multiply. This is done using a centrifuge separator. We then obtain a yeast cream. The yeast cream is cooled and stored at 4 degrees Celsius to inactivate the cells. At this point, the yeast is in the form of yeast cream. Yeast cream will be dehydrated to become Giulietta. The Saccharomyces cerevisiae LESO2 yeast cream goes in a rotary filter. Another machine will suck out the liquid to obtain a thin layer of yeast. This layer then goes into a kneader that will compress the yeast. The compressed yeast then contains 30 to 32% of dry matter. The yeast cream then passes through a rotary filter, an extruder, and a dryer to remove the water. Giulietta, a dry yeast product, must contain 96.1% Saccharomyces cerevisiae LESO2, the dehydrated yeast, which will be preserved better and longer. The dry product is packed in vacuum bags and becomes Giulietta. Voilà! Making Giulietta is no longer a secret for you.